Today I'd like to talk about some fighting with one arm, but utilising some really good techniques that come from Kung Fu. And the techniques are this. It's a block, inside block, with a punch, and then back to here. So the technique, that technique, I don't know the proper name for it in every single style. I know that it's included in karate, in the Goju styles. They have the Sanchin Tensho katas, have the inner block, a punch coming back to the inner block, and it's also in the Shito-ryu, they use different hands. In one it's a fist, another one is open hand to a forward, and in the Chow Ga Praying Mantis they usually use the forward knuckle, and they use that in this manner. Now there's a similar technique in the same Chow Ga set, so you use this technique and it's considered to be a tensioning and breathing technique. You tense your arms and then push out, come back in and use your whole body to tension. There's another technique where you use the claw, but the technique goes like this, and so you have this movement down and up, and there's lots of different ways you could reinterpret that technique, but for me I'm using it as a grab, pull, release, advance and grab again. Okay, so it's also included in Wing Chun. You know, when you got that wooden dummy and people are blocking against it, and sometimes they'll grab the arm and pull on it. The arm only has an inch or so movement on it. You pull on the arm and then strike. This gives you the it's a grabbing technique, but the main point for that is grabbing, then releasing immediately. So you only grab for the amount of time that it takes to pull, which is usually only 1 or 2 inches anyway, and immediately release and change that. Transition from open hand to claw or open hand to fist, and it's that transition that's trained in Wing Chun, is coming from the block, grab, pull, punch. And this is very important when you're fighting with one arm. Is if you're going to grab something, don't hold on to it in such a way that you're not going to be able to let go. Because sometimes if you're in a really serious and aggressive situation where you might be fearful for your own life, you grab hold of something and you find that you get stiffened into not wanting to let go. I remember when I was just lost my arm, and there's a fight at the pub. I've gone over and grabbed some guy by the throat and found that I couldn't let go. Got dragged to the ground with this fellow, and because in that shock situation there's just like a rigor mortis sets in, where you have to hold on and not let go through fear of, if I let go something bad will happen. But what it turns out is that grabbing hold of people is very, very important. You can either use this technique, which is a form of tension grab, or you can use this technique, which is a form of clawing. So it's called seizing. Chin na in Chinese is seizing the person and then doing something once you've seized them. But only holding on for the amount of time that it takes to do a technique and then transitioning into another technique. If you come in and I'll play with that. If you come here, we're going to use left hand on left hand, just so I can demonstrate the techniques. In a prime position is that big thug is going to grab my throat now with the left hand, so they can punch with the right. So he's going to probably grab my jacket or something. What we're doing is, while this hand is coming out, we're going to do something. So go to grab me, let go for a sec. So if you go to grab me, we're going to deflect the technique. So stand back a bit closer there and extend your arm, and I'll just show what we're doing. So just extend. What we're actually doing with this technique is that we are relaxing, not just blocking here with the forearm, but we're actually relaxing over the top. So see this action here? This is coming over the top. Now if you continue to try and grab me from there, and I'm dropping down over the top, what I'm doing is I'm stopping upward movement as well as forward movement. From here my fist is actually inside the elbow, so if you try and grab, you can't, possibly really, really strong, because I'm pushing in on the elbow and I'm pushing down and out at the same time. From here we do that block, And then this is the technique is to punch forward into the temple or the neck, the eye, any technique here, and then immediately come back to seize it again. Because even though I've stopped him here, if I let go of that to strike, he might continue to attack, right? And if you extend from there, right, you can still really attack me in some way, so I have to bring it back down and keep it checked. So if you stand there and try to grab me again from that hand, I go sideways, advance straight in. You notice that as he moved forward, when I pushed down on the block, you step forward, I moved him further, brought him in to the strike, and then I can come back here. Once I'm back here, of course, do many different things from there, but the idea is that we are using this dropping technique. So go back again. When we do it in some of the, say, northern praying mantis schools, they use an open hand technique. So if you do the grab again, we are dropping over. And then again from here I can actually push straight through on that bicep and push the person away, or I can attack the eyes or the throat. So in that way, if you go to grab me, right, I push down and then come back, and then extend forward. It's quite easy. With the grab, it's a similar thing, but rather than pushing them that way, I'm going to make him move this way. So if you go to grab me again with that hand, I'm going to go to here and then pull 1 inch. Remember what we did when we just used the back of the hand? This is now grabbing and seizing either to the wrist or to the forearm, and then pulling that way, but only pulling for 1 inch and then through. So I'll show you how that works. So if you go to grab me, all right, I moved him down 1 inch, but it moved the whole foot. And all I have to do then is extend my hand. From that point, I could have folded over and done lots of things, hip and everything. But the idea of the technique is, just slowly, is to go to here, grab, pull, and then let go. And he will fall into my claw. And I won't have to move much at all. The good thing about this is when I'm playing with the Wing Chun stylists who don't know this, I had a play fight with a guy, and he went to hit me with that arm, go to hit, and I went, pulled it from there, and then had to follow him around because it fully moved, right, pushed him right off guard. If you're here trying to attack me in this direction, then you end up over there. It changes your mindset from attack to defense really, really quick. And I've spoken about that before, changing an attacker into a defender. Well, this tiny movement very quickly turns a person from being an aggressive attacker in that direction to being a defender over here somewhere. And that's the secret, is not to, if you slowly again, yep, not to grab and then hold on, because now I have to follow him around where he's going, but to immediately grab, pull, let go, and then move on to something else. Now, 99.9% of our attacks that are going to be done by an aggressive person are going to be a right hand punch. So we really should look at what it's like on the inside. Now the benefit of this is if you go to do just a punch with that hand, if I can block in here and I'll hit the inside of the elbow, so you see how his arm is straight there, I'm going to hit in here and bend his arm a bit, and that's good, but I always worry about that other hand there, and that other hand can come in and strike me from there. So the benefit of this technique here is I'll block here and use my downward pressure to seize or to trap or tap. If that hand comes in, I then turn that way, and then I can come back to this side if I want to. Right, so we're actually blocking, striking, coming back, but you can also block, so right hand, yep, block, and then left, block again, and then from here you can continue the motion. Apart from that, go right hand again. Yep. I block there, and then from here I can use the same targets as before, or I can strike lower. So here's the muscle, big cavity here to punch the bones in, and so we can just again strike, block, strike, then back up to checking. However, once we've done this strike, it usually involves your opponent falling inwards to cover that area, and so there's nothing really here to do. From here we do a right hand, we do a block, strikes and then further strike, elbow, extend the hand, anything we want to. With the claw, it's similar again. If you go to do right hand strike, I grab, pull downwards, and can do similar. With that, I'm very worried about that the left hand coming in. So if you go right hand punch, now if I pull here, I'll pull that punch right in my face. Now this is where we're going to do several different techniques. So right hand punch comes in, pull down, and immediately check that. So it's pulling, blocking across your body. Okay, so we are going to be attacked by that arm. Now normally, if you punch with the right hand, normally what I'm going to do is just simply shield it and then break it. Sorry, is that your elbow breaking?
That was my elbow.
Dislocating.
Yeah.
What I do is, I normally would bend it here,
yeah.
And that way I can, no, you're really, really stiff. What I'm trying to do is do that underarm. How can you go out there? I'll have to edit that. One of the things that I do personally is if the right hand comes, I'll actually use the half of this technique, which is not that, but from there to here. So if you go to punch with the right hand, strike first and then block second. So although I've struck him in the eye, that will take an immediate reaction. It's called an involuntary reaction. He'll cover that eye and turn away. However, that arm is still under momentum. It's still coming towards me. So I'll strike and then block that, just for covering purposes. Because what could also happen if his arm's out here coming towards me and I hit him there, part of the action of covering the eye could be take out my head. So again, right, hit and block as quickly as possible. And then pretty well, if I've got him there and the foreknuckle's gone into the eye socket, he'd be more concerned with what's happening to his eye and protecting it and covering it. However, from here, so arm out again, so punch, block, if he is a trained SAS soldier and can take that and he's going to attack me from there, it is still quite easily to drop across this way. So do 2 punches, 1, 2, right?
Okay.
Right, 1, hey. You'll see, check, check, and then whatever else comes after it. But you can quite easily, using this technique, is to move it very quickly as well. Blocking out, blocking back in, striking out. This is all coming from Tai Chi and other arts as well. Okay, so that's what the better part of Chow Gar Praying Mantis, what this technique is for, and what that technique is for, well explained. Thank you.